taking everything I work for. I'm gonna fight your ass. You know what's the real fight? What's the real money fight is me, not these clowns that you already punked at the press conference. Don't no one want to see that. You know you beat them already. That's the easy fight. You want that real?
Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck. Super Bowl weekend, the biggest rematch in the history of the business. I'm calling you out, Silva, but we're up in the stakes. I beat you. You leave the division. You beat me. I will leave the UFC forever.
Chael Sonnen, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, listen to DC. Listen to DC. There's a guy that I've known for a long time. He's a wrestler. He's an All-American. He's a former UFC champion. I never thought I would fight him. But Brock Lesnar, get your ass in here. Yeah, you're strong, but everybody's strong. Punch me now, you go to sleep later. Your days in the past, 2010, it's like the Stone Age.
Let me tell you something. I walked into this building and watched the heavyweight disasters from the beginning. Nagano's a piece of Miocic's a piece of DC, I'm coming for you.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Nick Diaz. Nick, first of all, congratulations. Welcome back to the UFC. And congratulations on an outstanding victory tonight. Give us your thoughts on the fight and tell me what you're thinking right now. I see you walking around. You've been screaming George, even though you just beat BJ Penn in an outstanding fight. What's on your mind right now?
I don't think George is hurt. I think he's scared. He's scared to fight everybody right now. What's up? Where you at, George?
Excuse me, guys. Alhamdulillah. I want to say something. I want to stay humble, but I have to talk because your guys talk too much. And you know what interesting? I understand how crazy power UFC PR machine. Your guy, beginning of the year, he tough like chicken. End of the year, he fight for the title.
Hit the takedown, ground and pound, that was from the top. Heel hooking on one platter, leave you in the knot. Pound for pound, been the greatest. Sitting on the top, man, I'm laughing at the fools who think they coming for the spot. You ain't got a fucking shot, it's already mine. You can't ever fucking stop, you know I stay on the grind. Broken bones and black eyes, they just part of the life. Haymaker, MMA, we taking over your mics. No sleeping, bloody knuckles. It's nothing to the hustle. I'll be fighting till I die. Every day is still a struggle. I made it out the rubble. My knees ain't never buckle. I came here for a fight, but I'm ready for a rumble. So you gotta feel the chaos we've been leaving behind. Cause ain't nothing going down that I didn't design. But it's time to start the show, so extinguish the flame. Hey, make it MMA, we going straight for your brain. Yeah.
And welcome back to Haymaker MMA, episode deuce. I'm your host, EJ Reed, along with my co-host, Admire, Steve Johnson, producer Jay on the ones and twos. Shout out to Mr. Chaos, Mike Farrell, with blessing us with the new intro for the show. What do y'all think, fellas? New intro?
That's a banger.
Loving it.
Okay, UFC 287 this weekend. We're going to be previewing that. But before we get into that, we will be going around looking at the news stories of this week. There's a lot going on this week, and I'll kick it off. Fellas, looks like the parent company of the UFC, Endeavor, has merged with the WWE. And let's take a look at the official statement. WWE and UFC, which is owned by Endeavor, are merging to form a $21 billion global live sports and entertainment company with transaction. UFC's value over 12.1 billion, and WWE had a valuation of 9.3 billion. Man, that's big news. What was y'all's first impression when y'all heard that news?
And so I've talked about it a couple times. I watched Boots to the Face, and you guys touched on it. Me and Rucker touched on it last night. It's cool. It's, to me, I mean, just my opinion, just from what I've seen happen with UFC when they bought them, I think WWE is going to be, having more shows. UFC went from once a month or once every month and a half to a pay-per-view twice a month. So I would expect WWE to pick up. Some people don't agree with that. There's only so much storyline you can do, but I think that they'll make them more busy.
Steve?
Well, it's going to generate a lot of money making those two companies come together. And just for giggles, let's just hope it doesn't turn into that Cormier and Brock Lesnar situation, to where it doesn't feel genuine as far as letting these people come in the ring and argue. So I hope UFC doesn't go down that route.
That situation was so weird, and it felt so manufactured.
Yeah.
Like you had Brock run into the cage and just pushed Cormier, and Cormier was laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
It felt so staged.
Like, what do y'all think would have happened if those two would have actually fought?
You can go first. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, Brock Lesnar's a hell of a wrestler. So is DC. I mean, it would be a great wrestle match. On the feet, Cormier wasn't the best boxer. He's got a heavy hand, but so does Brock. If he touches you, like when he fought Heath Herring, he knocked him backwards into a flip. So I don't know. I think it would have been a good fight. I wanted to see it. I think DC is a little short for Brock, and Brock probably would have controlled him on the ground, is what I think. I think it would have been a lot like Lesnar and Mark Hunt. Lesnar would have just laid on him.
DC, go ahead, Steve.
I would have to totally agree. And maybe we never know if the fight never happened, but it may be one of those fights to where styles make fights, and you see Brock Lesnar with his huge body might be able to get down DC pretty easily. So I think that's a fight we'll never be able to see, but we'll contemplate.
I don't know. Like, with this new merger, like, they're more, the WWE wrestlers are more accessible. Like, you could just go right down the hallway and go to the UFC's office. Like, they might try to entice Brock to come back. And, like, I know DC, if the money was right, he would do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I know Brock fought at UFC 200. I can't remember if he fought at UFC 100, but UFC 300 is coming up. This would be the perfect time to plug Brock back into the UFC, spread some, WWE love within the company. But I really hope they don't go down that path. They will at some point. They will do a lot of cross promotion shit. But like Gilbert Burns already said, if Brock tries coming in the ring, he'll swing on him.
That's what Gilbert Burns said?
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar would turn Gilbert Burns into dust.
Yeah. Gilbert's a little undersized for Brock.
Yeah.
Just because he does the WWE stuff now doesn't mean that he could flip that switch and go back in the UFC mode. And he outweighs Gilbert Burns probably like a good 70 pounds.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Gilbert Burns is 170. Brock, I think he had to cut to 265.
He did.
So he's got 100 pounds on him. So that's a lot of weight when you're a 170. But
swing on Brock at your own discretion, but that might not turn out well for you, Gilbert Burns.
And I don't think Brock Lesnar ever got knocked out. I know he lost by TKO to like Overeem and a couple others, but I don't think he was ever actually out cold ever.
The Velasquez fight, I can't remember. That might have been a TKO.
That was TKO.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was with the Overeem fight, he was dealing with the diverticularis. I probably botched that up, but he had the stomach disease.
Yeah, and Overeem kept kicking him right in his stomach too, man. I rewatched that fight last week.
Yeah, but going back to the Endeavor deal, like on Boot to the Face, I touched more so on the wrestling side of it. I'll talk more so about the UFC side of it. Like, I want them to be separate as possible. Like, I don't want to see them trying to force stuff because, like, UFC and MMA fans will be able to sniff that from a mile away if they try too much to force their like commingling with each other. Like, I'd like to see them stay separate. Like, I know they're gonna cross promote a little bit, but the farthest extent I want to see that cross promotion is like maybe you see a wrestler in the crowd, like at a show, like they, you know how they zoom over to the celebrities. Like, I don't want to see any wrestlers try to step in a cage, and vice versa, because although wrestling is scripted, like it still takes skill to actually try to go in the ring. So I don't want to see Conor McGregor try to go in the ring. Like, he wouldn't know how to run the ropes or anything like that. It would look goofy. Like, so everybody should just stay in their lane.
Yeah. I guarantee you what you're gonna see is you're gonna see a lot of UFC fighters start to get loud and cocky like McGregor and Chael Sonnen and try to get the WWE's attention. I bet you see a lot of UFC guys try to go over there, kind of like Ronda did. In their mind, they can say, oh, well, I can go over there and not get hurt fighting. But like you said, they don't know how to work the ropes or how to take a fall the right way so they don't really get injured. Like, it does take practice and skill. That's why there's wrestling schools. But I guarantee you there's guys that are going to try.
Yeah, so as far as like the financial side of it, a lot of people on like the wrestling side have been worried that UFC will kind of like suck them into the structure, because right now WWE, they're on the Peacock network, which is you pay like $10 a month and you get like all the pay-per-views and stuff. And right now UFC is behind two paywalls. You have to have ESPN Plus to look at the fight nights, and you have to have ESPN Plus to have access to buy the $70 pay-per-views. So do y'all see anything changing on the financial front of it?
Probably. You know what? They haven't went down on their price. I think they're going to proceed with those prices and keep on making money. Like they say, it's an expensive, out of all the sports, the most expensive fan is a MMA fan. You got to go all, like you say, all these paywalls, ESPN Plus and Plus pay-per-view. It gets pretty expensive quick. I think pretty soon, I don't know, if we get lashback from the fans, we might see a price lower, but who knows? That's what I would like.
I think when they bought UFC, I think UFC was still under contract with Fox, and they just waited for it to expire to do anything. But what I would like to see, I mentioned in the chat on Boot to the Face last night, I would like to see like a $20, $25, $30 subscription where you get all UFC and WWE. You get the whole library. You get the pay-per-views. I understand that, UFC still with ESPN and will do the prelims on there in the smaller fight nights, but I would like to see some kind of subscription for that, because UFC before had a subscription like that. I think it was $8 a month, but you didn't get free pay-per-views. And then WWE had their network where I think it was $15 a month or something like that, and you got all the pay-per-views. So I'd like to see kind of a combo of it.
Yeah, so UFC Fight Pass, that still exists. But it's been watered down a whole lot than it was back in the day. So to get access to any like pay-per-views past, like, I think they leave the pay-per-views on ESPN Plus on for like 30 days. And then after the 30 days are up, they put it onto the Fight Network. So with the Fight Network, you're getting access to all the past UFC fights. And you got to subscribe to ESPN Plus to get the current stuff. And you have to pay for the pay-per-views. What I would like to see is for them to like kind of wrap it all up in one. Like if you subscribe to ESPN Plus, you have access to that whole library. and also maybe because I know they're not gonna give the pay-per-views away for free. That's out of the window. But man, if you're subscribing to the ESPN Plus, maybe you have a discount, like a discounted price, maybe like a half price. And then like they'll have access to like regular cable subscriptions, and that's where you pay full price. That'll like entice you to go get the ESPN Plus subscription if you can at least get like half off for the pay-per-views. That's kind of like something in the middle.
Yeah, they need to give some kind of discount for it, because especially with them running 2 pay-per-views a month, I mean, not a lot of people have $140 to spend a month on 2 shows. So, they're better off even cutting their price.
I think they're losing out on pay-per-view buys because of that.
Think so?
And then people might resort to other stream methods than going to an actual pay-per-view off ESPN Plus. So I think it might be hurting them at the long end.
We know a lot of people that do alternative means to watch those pay-per-views.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so some people sail the high seas.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that the other day, actually, Steve. Like the John Jones pay-per-view, I think it did like 900,000. So imagine if they weren't behind that ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Like old people don't know how to access streaming stuff. Like people like 60 and older, if they were like still accessible to the cable streaming services, that might have broke like 1.2 million. Like who knows? That's why I'm not like that ESPN check must be tremendous if like they're isolating other methods that you could like access their pay-per-views.
No,
I don't know, but so if they do start doing this crossover stuff, which I hope doesn't happen, which UFC fighters you think would he be able to actually pull it off over there in the WWE off the top of y'all head?
My number 1 pick, Derek Balls is Hot Lewis.
Really?
Derek Lewis is such a character. He would do great over there.
You think so? I feel like he comes off a little bit too off the cuff. Like he would go off script a little bit too much.
Yeah, he's funny on the mic though, man. He's a great talker. He's very athletic for a big guy, so I don't think it would take a lot to get him into wrestling shape.
That'd be interesting. It'd be entertaining, like you said, but like maybe in a train wreck type of way.
Yeah.
Steve, who you think you could cut over there?
Well, I think it was the last card, and I can't think of the dude's name. I think he's a newcomer, and people starting to like him. He talks country, and at the end of his fight, his post fight, he was talking all stuff, and he was like, "Look at these." Who is post fight interviewing that day?
I think it might have been Michael Bisping.
Yeah, he was like, "Look at these arms, Bisping," and they're just talking stuff. I can't think of his name, but since I can't think of his name, I would say definitely if he works on his speech delivery, Colby Covington. Colby Covington says some funny things sometimes.
He would be a good heel, definitely would. Yeah, I thought about him as well.
Y'all think that he could cut it over there? Physically, he could. He's an athlete, so he could pull off the moves and stuff. But like, as far as like on a mic, I feel like he's always like so super scripted. Like if he doesn't have a script in front of him, like he gets flustered with his words. Like it's like kind of cringy.
True.
Yeah, but just he's already got the heel persona. I mean, going over there and just the shit talking, he would be good for it.
Yeah, he can get away with corniness on the WWE side. Plus, when he gets upset, sometimes he slips up with good lines. Like he said, you couldn't make a draw with a green crown. It's a draw money. You couldn't draw money with a green crown. So I think when he makes comments like that, I think he's hilarious. Or talking about Bisping's one eye.
What did he say about that? I don't even remember that one.
He said, is that a figment of your imagination going to the White House? And then Kobe is like, well, you must not be seeing straight with that one eye.
Oh, that's his ringer.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had it in him.
Oh, yeah. He says smart comments like that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, he gets pieced up outside of restaurants, too, when he talks about people.
Oh, yeah. Missing teeth.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we talk about that last show? But because he was going after John Annick's family, saying he's gonna kill him and murder him. Like, how come you didn't have that same energy when Jorge went in the restaurant and pieced you up?
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got an ongoing case with that.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe he's just been keeping quiet for legal reasons. Mm-hmm. But naturally, go ahead.
We got about 2 minutes before we have to go to break.
Yeah, so before we go to break, I say naturally, you think Conor McGregor would be able to cut it over there because he'd definitely be able to cut over there on the mic. But I know he's all juiced up now, but Conor McGregor's small. He's 155. Like, everybody knows, like, people are jacked up over there. So on the mic, he could carry it, but, like, physically, like, he doesn't look like he got over there. I'd say, like, Israel Adesanya, I think he would be, like, a perfect candidate to go over there because he could talk. He's a bigger dude. And he's athletic, so he'd be able to pull it off in the ring.
I think if they moved McGregor over there, that it wouldn't last because I think the other wrestlers would hate him. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a cocky fuck off script, so I don't think they would take a liking to that. And the fact that he would probably get to come over and make more than any of them without the experience and all that, I don't think it would be a good match for McGregor.
You know what? Saying that, I think in a lot of sport cultures, people don't like somebody who's privileged from another sport thinking they can just come in. People have been doing it for, and I think definitely Ronda Rousey got some of that treatment going over there from what I hear from the background with her situation, or her, I guess, not playing too rough, but wrestling too rough and injuring her opponent. So I heard she's got bad taste for her.
So, yeah, Ronda was green coming in, but she was able to be decent after a while. But like, she rubbed the fans the wrong way because she would go off on Twitter acting like she's been there forever, and fans didn't like it. They smelled it from a mile away. So, like, she's in a kind of a rough patch right now. But yeah, but we're going to go to break now. And when we come back, we'll come with some more stories, and then we'll preview the card here on Haymaker MMA.
If my songs go pop, 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 what makes you think I'm not okay with that? I took my backpack off, ready to change the game and run the track. Y'all thinking I'ma fall off? I'm Thomas the Edge. 2 seconds, you get your rocks off. That's why they said you're all soft. So I paint over the theme like I'm Bob Ross. I got weed songs, if you smoke good. I got peace songs, if you ain't so hood. That you can't kick it, get it, have a party. Oh shit, homie, don't hurt nobody. Let your knees drop while the beat rock. Need my scheme seem something like P-Rock. You gotta hit the G-spot. Life's too short like an Ewok. Live it, let your nerves shake while the earthquake. Do the bird like it's purple rain. Now say something stupid about girls and drinks and slur your words and sip on Chardonnay. Now roll some up. What you waiting for? Roll some up. Eyes low if you roll like us. So when I say so, everybody jump, jump. But we don't chase cream, so we feed it to the children. Paint new faces on the canvas as I write classic poems like Sanskrit. Epic, 3 letters, don't forget it. Pronounce soul, but I got soul in excess. The next best to the best, but the best ain't rain yet. So I guess we all kings, yes. A rising tide will raise all boats. But if you throw stones, nobody floats. Negativity breeds nothing but ills. That's why I paint the perfect picture with the team that I build. Say cheese and pose like a G and some gold dookie roll ropes like Run DMC. Too many homies on my team, made a whole fucking album with my family. Yeah. If you love life, don't ever let it waste, y'all. That's why you gotta make love, make peace, make noise, make art. Let me get a soul clap. Can I get a soul clap? Let me get a soul clap. Can I get a soul clap? Soul clap for me.
We're back. EJ, you're on mute.
We are back on Haymaker MMA. Admire, what you got?
Well, my story I'm bringing to the table. So the fight is this weekend in Miami, Florida. We know that is the home of Jorge Masvidal, and he is no stranger to trouble. So do you guys know who Kevin Holland is?
Yes, indeed.
Never been a big fan of Kevin Holland. I guess Masvidal and Kevin Holland got into an altercation yesterday at the hotel in Miami. So that's always fun, you know. Masvidal, I can't remember who it was that he pieced up in the back at one of the fights. I think it was Leon Edwards, maybe.
It was.
Yeah, it was Leon Edwards. It's crazy to me that a professional fighter is just so willing to fight outside of the cage, but when he gets in the cage, he can't really do shit. You know, like when he fought Colby, when he fought Usman twice. I think he fought Usman twice, but I know the last one, he couldn't do nothing. Like, Masvidal is mentally, he's a fighter. He always wants to fight, but once he has the chance to do it legally in the cage, he just doesn't show up.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You said he attacked Kevin Holland backstage?
No.
They were arguing, and they got to fight at the hotel in the lobby from what I read.
Yeah.
What was the outcome?
Nobody's really talking about it. I wasn't able to find any video. Dana White was asked about it a couple times in interviews, and he said he don't want to talk about it. So I don't really know what happened. I just know that it happened. Neither one of them's been pulled off the card, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Man, like, you want to root for Masvidal because he like came out of nowhere on his rise to the top. But like, dude, like, come on, like, what are you doing trying to get in a fight with Holland in the backstage? Like, but like Masvidal is like one of those like street dudes, like he'll bring the smoke to you if you want it. So
Yeah,
I don't know all the details behind it, but I guess Masvidal didn't back down. Kevin Holland wasn't back down. They're two outspoken dudes, so
yeah. And a lot of people don't know it. I'm probably sure everybody listening here does, that Masvidal, he used to fight on kind of the same cards as Kimbo. Like, Masvidal was a backyard fighter. He was like in Kimbo's crew down in Miami. It's a whole rabbit hole on that. They were basically all bouncers for porn studios, and then they started kind of a fight club. But yeah, Masvidal is very street, and he's always willing to fight anybody. But it's like the Colby thing. I mean, Colby beat his ass up and down the cage and made him look really bad, and then he went and sucker punched him in public. Like, you had all the time in the world to fight this guy, and you couldn't do nothing, but now you want to fight him in the street.
Street Judas.
like
Covington would say.
I don't know how I feel about that, because at the end of the day, like, people talk trash to promote a fight. So Kobe has his own stick, but apparently they were friends in real life. So who knows, like, if somebody crossed the line behind the scenes. And I mean, you talk shit, there's consequences to that. But if you sucker punch somebody, that's also like a bitch move. So I don't know how I feel about that whole situation.
Yeah. I mean, sucker punching somebody's a bitch move, but sucker punching someone after they beat your ass, like, that's even more of a bitch move.
But who knows what Kobe may have said behind the scenes, like if they were supposedly friends back in the day. I don't know. Like,
he said something about him not taking care of his kids or some shit.
That was in front of the camera though. Like, who knows, like, all behind the scenes stuff. Like, we don't know, but I don't know. He's in trouble. He's in legal trouble. So I bet he wish he didn't go back and like sucker punch them.
Yeah.
And Masvidal has said if he doesn't win this weekend, he's probably going to retire.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that once we start breaking down the card a little bit. But like, did Dana say anything about him and Holland fighting?
Nothing.
I feel like Dana kind of has to lay low now after he slapped his wife. Like, you didn't really, you didn't really hear him like being too outspoken now.
Well, Power Slap is a new promotion. I don't know. I think plainly lets him think he got away with it. After that, he led a whole promotion about slapping.
So before we get into your story, Steven, one thing I forgot to talk about with the whole WWE and UFC merger, like Ari Emanuel, who is Ari Gold and Entourage, he's the head of it. UFC Endeavor has 51%. WWE has 49%. And the way the structure, the shareholder structure, Vince McMahon is like second or third in line of heading the whole company. And he got in trouble for sexual misconduct. And like, he laid low for a little bit and then like moseyed his way back into the company. Then you have Dana White. He just slapped his wife. Like, don't y'all think that's kind of a bad look to have a sexual predator and a domestic person who's committed domestic violence as like heads of your company? Like, I don't know. How do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, but I mean, even before the video of Dana White and his wife, Dana White's always kind of been a wild one, always talking shit and doing wild things. And nothing ever really stopped him before. It's, a lot of people talk about him doing coke or like his gambling and just the overall shit talk. I thought if Dana White was going to be canceled, it would have been when he came out and did like his whole speech at Trump's rally or whatever it was. He did a big thing introducing Donald Trump. And I thought that would have lost a lot of people, but apparently not. Money talks.
That's what my opinion was about to be. If you follow the signs, you can see that Dana is a very prolific figure, and you can tell that he's made donations to politicians. I mean, what other sport was able to be open when the epidemic happened? He was the only sport, and he was the only way to seem that he was the only one to break the rules as far as sports, to still have cards and produce these fights while all these other sports were getting shut down. So Dana's a pretty powerful dude if people don't peep the signs.
Right. And him being outspoken as he is, he's a draw himself. If you look at any big, company, sports team, whatever, it's the loud ones that get all the attention. Mark Cuban with the Dallas Mavericks, he's a very, loud guy, and he's out there in the public eye. So he gets a lot of the attention. If the UFC was owned by some just random nice guy, like Scott Coker that used to own Strikeforce, you tune in kind of because Dana White gets you excited. I love his press conferences before and after the fights. Like, he's always giving good information. A lot of times he's, overly honest and shares a lot more than he should, the inside information. So I think he himself is good for the company publicly and get stuff done. So they're not going to get rid of him no matter what he does.
Okay, so Dana White had one slip up. So the way this new company, once they go public, is going to be structured, like I said, WWE owns 49% of it. Endeavor owns 51% of it. Under the companies under that umbrella is UFC and WWE. Nick Khan is the president of WWE. Dana White's the president of UFC. Vince McMahon is on the board of directors of this new company. He's like a high up guy. So if I'm a woman fighter on the roster, like say Amanda Nunes, she's probably like one of the top 5 most popular people on the roster. If I'm a wrestler on the WWE roster, like, how would I feel if this sexual predator is like the board of directors of the company that I'm on?
What did Vince actually get in trouble for? Like, what was the thing?
He used company money to pay off settlement money to keep people quiet once he sexual misconduct.
We've all done that, right?
Yeah, all of us done that. We're being sarcastic, of course, but one woman, she said he straight up just raped her in the back of a limousine.
But was he ever charged with anything?
Still, though, if I'm a woman fighter, I might not feel comfortable. This guy's one of my bosses.
And that's the same thing they said about Dana slapping his wife. But I think even as of now, I think people forgot. It's fizzing away. If you get what I'm saying? And I think Dana is one of those people, and I think Vince McMahon may be one of those people because, like you said, money can make things go away and settlements.
I don't know. It's a slippery slope. They may be going the direction, and we'll see how it plays out. Vince McMahon is also old, so he may not have too many good days ahead of himself.
Yeah, I don't think he has a lot of years left, man. I know we're here to talk about MMA, but goddamn, his little mustache and eyebrows and shit he had going on the other day. What the fuck?
He looked like Gomez. Was it Gomez Adams from the Adams Family? Super sketch mustache.
He looked like a retired 70s porn star.
That too.
I'll tell you one moment that made me, to this day, cracks me up. When he jumped in the ring messed his knee up, and he had to play it off like it wasn't happening.
Oh,
I don't know if y'all saw that.
the funny thing about that is, it's funny you brought that up. His son this past weekend at WrestleMania this past weekend, his son got in the ring, tried to do like a leap over somebody, and he did the same thing. He blew his quad out and was like on the ring. And Snoop Dogg was in the ring, had to do an audible like Snoop Dogg punch, had to like go in the ring and like punch dude in the face to like make up for the fact that his son Shane McMahon tore his quad in the ring like almost exactly the same way his dad did. So that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But like I said, we have to see how it plays out. But what do you have for us, Steve?
As far as my stories inside and outside the cage.
Yeah.
What do y'all feel about these they say it's evened out MMA fighters, but I can say they're pretty much young, fighting these old retired boxers. And then what I'm referring to is Roy Jones and Pettis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Anthony Pettis.
Yeah. What do y'all think about that? Is that elder abuse, or is that
did that fight happen already?
Yeah.
Who won?
Anthony Pettis.
He beat Roy Jones?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about these like sideshow fights. I mean, get your money, but like we don't take it seriously.
Yeah. I don't think you get any bragging rights for that.
No, you can't, man. It's so weird that they're doing those fights. Like Roy Jones Jr. losing to Anthony Pettis in a boxing match. Like, come on. You can't tell me that there's not something wrong with that. Like, Anthony Pettis wasn't even a boxer. I mean, he was a kickboxer style. So it seems fishy to me. I'm all good with circus fights as long as it's evenly matched. You know, stop putting people over 45 in there.
Yeah, I agree.
So, how were the highlights? Did you watch the highlights of it?
Yeah, I did. And Roy Jones, of course, for his age, you know, looks good. But as far as Anthony Pettis getting in there and getting shots in on a world champion, multiple weights, that's where I think we have a problem. For somebody that's not known for his hands and has brittle hands and hands are broke and winning against the champion. So that's how I feel about it.
How old is Roy Jones now? Like 50?
Yeah. I'll guess 56.
So the first thing that goes, like,
60.
Yeah, the first thing that goes is always speed. Like, power's the last thing that goes. So even though, like, in Roy Jones Jr. prime, he would absolutely destroy Anthony Pettis, but he's 50, so, like...
54.
54. Ooh,
yeah,
like, that's right.
His like motor skills and his like reaction time, like it's probably slowed tremendously since his prime. So I'm still surprised though. Like you just think like he was such on a high level in his prime that even at 50 he would still be able to kind of outbox Pettis. So I'm totally shocked that you said that Pettis got the win.
Yeah. And I mean, like look at Tyson. You know, Tyson still looks real good for his age. He could still box. He beat Roy Jones Jr. like what 2 years ago, but
that was a tie. It was a draw in that match. Even though
they scored a draw,
it was a draw. But everybody said that Tyson should have won that.
Yeah.
Tyson handled him, but it was also there were so many rules to that fight. There was like you can't go for the knockout or whatever. I think it was only like 4 rounds or something stupid.
Yeah. Tyson did hurt him with a body shot though.
I remember that. It had a big thud.
Yeah. I think that's where Tyson like, oh, look, I put too much power on it. You know.
Yeah, that's a good Tyson impression. But yeah, I think we're gonna keep seeing. This is a trend. We're gonna keep seeing these circus fights, and like if you're on the tail end of your career, like why not get another bag?
Definitely.
Yeah. You know, now I got to look that up. I got to look and see what the payouts were for that.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, Anderson Silva, even before like he rose to the top of MMA, he had a couple boxing matches under his belt, and somehow he lost to the YouTuber. Like, combat sports is unpredictable, so
definitely.
Damn, they got kind of paid.
What was the payout on that?
So Anthony Pettis, $650,000, Roy Jones Jr., $700,000, Vitor Belfort, $400,000, Jacare, $200,000, Jose Aldo, $425,000, Jeremy Stevens, $200,000. That's not bad.
That's probably more than what they would get paid in the UFC. So, hey, like I said, get your bag, but like it's a circus fight. Like I didn't even know what happened, so like they didn't even promote it like that.
It was on UFC Fight Pass. It was Game Bred Boxing, Masvidal's company.
And Masvidal, he's under UFC contract, so I guess he can't go on the card. I'm like, how come he didn't show up on the card? I don't know, man. I'm surprised Masvidal was able to front that much money. You said how much did Roy Jones make?
$700,000.
That's crazy. You think Roy Jones' price tag would be a little bit higher than that, though? He must be like not doing well right now.
Yeah, but he probably thought it was going to be easy night. Just get in there with this fucking washed up UFC fighter and, you know, take your 700 and go. But sounds like he had to work for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the next one coming? I feel like Jake Paul's going to fight somebody soon, isn't he?
I think he's not as hot anymore after that last loss. If anything, I do hear Mayweather's cooking up something.
Yeah. And like he just fought somebody like a month ago, and nobody really talks about that.
So he knows he has to come with some spike next time.
He's rich, unless he's like losing money behind the scenes and he's not telling anybody about it. Like, why is he still doing these exhibition fights?
He just likes money.
Yeah, maybe he's just greedy. But like, if nobody's really watching it, it's kind of a bad look. I don't know. We'll see how these circus fights keep playing out within the next couple years. I wonder if it's trending up or trending down, but time will tell.
It's trending up.
You think so?
Definitely trending up. There's just a lot more than there used to be. You know, the only circus fights I remember back in the day was, you know, James Toney and, you know,
Butterbean.
Yeah, Butterbean was a good boxer, man. He was a real good boxer.
But he faced a bunch of cans, though.
Yeah, but he did some big names. He even went to Pride and did some fighting in Pride.
Yeah, he was hella mid in MMA, though. I don't know.
For his size, he can put in work. I'll give him his credit.
He had hands. He had hands. I'll give him that. But yeah, let's take one more break and then we'll finally get into this card here on Haymaker MMA. Stay tuned.
Yeah, hey, it's K-Bone, hey, yeah, hey, what you doing, hey, what you doing, it's K-Bone. Smoking dope, I'm counting up, I never gave a fuck. Used to want that bitch, but now she's just a little slut. When I get these racks, I'm gonna cop a Bentley truck. And these haters stay mad, cause they see me coming up. Smoking dope, I'm counting up, I never gave a fuck. Used to want that bitch, but now she's just a little slut. When When I get these racks, I'm gonna cop a Bentley truck. And these haters staying mad cause they see me coming up. Used to be addicted to them blue pills. The perks had me in a chokehold, it was too real. Now that I be sober, I don't know how to feel. Bitch be playing love games, she likes my sex appeal. And my broken heart feel like I'll never heal. The day that you left me, it all went downhill. I would get so bored, I'd resort to poppy pills. Like a shooter in the school. Attention, this is not a drill. This is not a drill, oh bitch, I don't care how you feel. No, I cannot cuff you, bitch, I thought you knew the deal. I keep it up, buck, you know I always keep it real. Like a secret service agent, girl, I gotta stay concealed. Smoking dope, I'm counting up, I never gave a fuck. Used to want that bitch, but now she's just a little slut. When I get these racks, I'm gonna cop a Bentley truck. And these haters staying mad cause they see me coming up. Smoking dope, I'm counting up, I never gave a fuck. Used to want that bitch, but now she's just a little slut. When I get these racks, I'm gonna cop a Bentley truck. And these haters staying mad cause they see me coming up.
All right. We're back on Haymaker MMA. UFC 287. Let's get into it, fellas. What are y'all's excitement for this card?
Oh, the main event, man. I want to see if Alex can knock out Izzy again.
You excited for the card, Steve?
Most definitely. Looking which approach that, like you said, Alex Pierre and Israel Adesanya, which approach they're going to take. I know there's going to be significant changes, and that's what's going to make the fight.
All right, so let's start from the bottom and make our way to the main event. So on the early prelims, we have Jacqueline Amorim versus Sam Hughes. We have Shaylin Nuorco Dibike versus Steve Garcia at featherweight. Cynthia Cabillo, I don't know if you heard that name, versus Lupita Benitez. Also Gerald Merkashot and versus Joe Piper. And that's the early prelims. Any of those fights interest y'all?
Nah, nothing sticks out too big on those early ones.
The only one rings a bell is Cynthia Cavillo.
Yeah, versus
she's
Lupita.
been on the down run as far as losing fights, so we're gonna have to see what she can do.
And Lupita, that's somebody they've been trying to push a lot lately, so that may have a little bit of implications in that women's strawweight division. So we move on to the prelims. At heavyweight, we got your boy. This is your boy, Steve. Chris Barnett versus Chase Sherman. We got at strawweight, middle women's strawweight, we got Michelle Waterson versus Luana Pinheiro. We got Michael Chiesa at welterweight versus Lin Liang. And we have Kevin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis at middleweight. What do y'all think about that? Those early the regular prelims.
I've always been a fan of Kelvin Gastelum. I really like him. He was the champ for a minute. Then I think he lost to who did he lose to? Did he lose to Usman? I think he lost it to Usman.
No, I don't think Gastelum had like the interim belt, but he was on the precipice. Remember he had that drag out war with him and Izzy?
Was it? Was it that? Okay, it was Izzy, yeah. But Kelvin Gastelum, he also won the Ultimate Fighter So I've always been a fan of his. I'm excited to see him fight. Hopefully he can bounce back a little bit. He's lost a lot of the shine that he had.
Steve, what do you think Gastelum's projection is now? Like, he's been kind of up and down over the past couple years.
Yeah, and I think after his Israel Adesanya fight, I think he had either one or two more losses, if I'm not mistaken, by submission. I may be wrong, but I think he has to show dominance again, and I think that he hasn't reached his height since that Israel Adesanya fight, so he's gonna have to buckle down or change some things.
Yeah, I feel like he's never taken the sport as seriously as he should have, because he should be a welterweight. Like, he missed weight a lot at that weight division. Then he had the fight of his life with Izzy. Like, that was kind of like a crossroads fight for him, because that was I think it's for the interim belt. I think that one was for the interim belt. And they battled it out, and he barely lost. He got the shorter end of the stick. And after that, I thought he might have, had a bounce back fight and maybe been in contention, but like, he kind of went on a downward spiral for him. So he's almost like a journeyman at this point, and he was like a top contender. So it's the main event on the prelim, so it's definitely a show and prove fight. What about Michael Chiesa though? Like, Michael Chiesa, he's a jiu-jitsu dude. Got wrestling. He got paid off of Conor McGregor throwing a dolly at the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chiesa, he's kind of a gatekeeper to me, but he's always been in like that top 4 to 8 position. I don't know what they have him ranked at anymore, but Chiesa's also coming off 2 losses, so this is kind of a must win for him. Going back to the last one you mentioned, Kelvin Gastelum, I just looked at his record. He's lost 5 of his last 6. So it's Kelvin's definitely in a do or die situation, but Chiesa, he's a good fighter, man. He just, every time he gets up there and you think he's ready, he's kind of like Derek Brunson. Once he gets in the top 5, he'll lose one and get knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's PFL bouncing or Bellator bouncing. So he better get the W.
Very good. He did good in Bellator.
Yeah, I mean, why not go for it in the PFL, even though they already started their season? Get that $1 million check if you could run through the whole tournament or the whole season. What about the karate hottie though? Like, I feel like UFC has always wanted to strap the rocket to her back, but she can never get over that hump.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's hot too. I like watching her fight.
Man, they don't call it a karate hottie for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a victim of them not having that atom weight division. Invicta, they have the atom weight division, which is the 105 division. She's just a little bit undersized for the 115 strawweight division, and I think that's prevented her from getting a belt. I think she would have been a perfect candidate to get an atom weight belt, but I don't know.
She's also coming off 2 losses.
Oh, she is? Yeah. I mean, what is she, like 37?
She's lost 4 of her last 5. She is 37 years old.
Yeah, so like,
she's 2 times she had a title run, didn't she? She had 2 championship fights and lost, hasn't? If I'm not mistaken, or was that just one?
Did she ever fight for I don't think she's ever fought for the belt.
She fought. I think she has.
She's fought in some past champions, but I can't remember ever being in a title fight.
She fought Joanna, but it wasn't for a belt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 4 years ago. And I think that was right before Joanna got the belt.
Yeah, she's one of those fighters, like, she's been there so long, like, she had to have fought for the belt at one time, but like, she's always been on the brink of being that contender, but she can never get over the hump.
Right.
Because I remember they had like a fight between her and Paige Van Zandt about like the hot girls, and Michelle edged her out. But what about your boy Chris Barnett? thick boy in there.
I think it's going to be a very any fight he's in is going to be entertaining, and that's a dude you can't help but love and watch him fight, especially after the sumo butt pounce on the mat, the turn and flip.
That's so funny. Did you see that, Admire?
No, I didn't.
You love this dude, like Chris Barnett. He should be like probably like a welterweight. He's like 5'10", 5'9", but he weighs like 240 pounds or something. Ridiculous.
Shit, I just seen that. He's 5'9", 268. He has to cut weight to make fucking heavyweight.
Yeah, and he knocked the dude out and like did like a somersault in the ring and like was so elated. He looked like a big teddy bear in there. But he's an entertaining dude, but he definitely probably should be fighting at like a welterweight if he got his conditioning in check. I'm excited to see him fight though.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into the main card though. We kick it off with Raul Rosa Jr., the prodigy, versus Christian Rodriguez. Have y'all done research on Raul Rosas Jr.? Like, have y'all been following him any?
Well, I've seen him fight. He's a great fighter.
Young dude, was 17 on the Contender, if I believe. And then when he turned 18, I think recently had his first fight, did good and got a win out of what was it, decision, if I'm not mistaken. And he looks like he has high hopes, but longer down the line, we're going to see how experienced he is, or when he'll hit that experience wall to see how great of a kid he is.
17 is super young to be in the UFC, and he just had his first official UFC fight at that last pay-per-view. I think they may be strapping the rocket to this kid's back a little bit too soon. Like, you're going to have to face some adversity eventually, and like this kid's knock a little bit been so far is he's been a little bit too cocky, and he just had a pre-fight interview with I think it might have been ESPN, but Jay, if you could run that video for us really quick so we could take a look at it.
Sorry, which one was it? Was it the gloves or the other one?
The one at the bottom, the one with the UFC in the background.
Tell me a little bit about Christian Rodriguez, who also a prospect, right? Also a guy that people think that in the future he'll be big. What are his strengths, and how do you think you match up with him?
Yeah, I heard that people think he's a prospect too, and he is, but this is exactly the fight that I need. Another prospect, so I can finish them and show that there's levels to this, that he's nowhere near my level. That way people can start seeing that I deserve to fight for a top 15.
Do you feel like you're already ready for that type of competition, top 15?
Yeah, like I said, I'm ready to fight for that title. Like right now, like this Saturday, I can fight for that title. But of course, I gotta earn my way up there, So I'm earning my way up there, and I'm showing my skill set that I'm ready to fight for that title.
How much are you paying attention to, like the top of the division and like the title fights? Quite a bit. And how do you think you match up with like those guys at the top?
I think I'll be everybody, but right now the top 15 is being a little crazy. People going in and out. But I think, the division is interesting right now. Like, you got Aljamain Sterling fighting Henry Cejudo. So, depends how that plays out, because also Aljo might move up, might not, But I think if Aljo beats Cejudo and decides to stay on the division, I don't think nobody can beat him but me.
Big words for an 18-year-old kid saying he wants a top 15 and he could beat the champion already. Like, we've seen this story play out in the past. Like, you had Sage Northcutt. He was older than this guy. I think Sage Northcutt was like 19 or 20, and he got his face broken eventually. But so do y'all like the confidence in the kid, or you think he needs to like slow it down a little bit?
He needs to slow down. I mean, he's not talking big shit, like a Sean O'Malley type, but he hasn't faced anybody in the top 10, and then he's got to go to the top 5. Like, don't talk all that until you've beat somebody that's ranked.
Steve?
Definitely. Some people even think they got it figured out, and that's like when you turn in your 30s and you look back in your 20s, and in your 20s you think you figured it all out, but now that you're 30, there's a whole lot of experience in between. And I think his mentality, he can believe he's the best, but knows he should want to test himself until he gets a competition to where he can. Having that competition will make you have openings in your defense, which eventually leads to your mentality. So I think he should slow down, pump the brakes on even thinking he's talking about somebody even classifying they're going up to weight. I think he said Aljo. I mean, Aljo's a big dude, so I think just by saying he can go in and take him, I'm like, I have to see more.
Aljo would wash the floor with this kid right now.
That's what I would believe.
It's too soon. Like, UFC would be dumb if they gave this kid a top 15 dude after the next. He's had one fight in the UFC. You got to take it slow. Like, he's 18. Like, feed him some cans at first. The roster's so bloated. There's so many other bantamweights you can feed him to. So take it slow.
And plus, I think fans have a sense. Plus, UFC, true UFC fans can sense a sort of push or a Dana White so-called privilege. And I think Dana White likes this kid, and he's putting him in the spotlight real fast.
Time will tell. So we didn't get to do this for the last fight, but something we should do is have our picks for these fights. And then, like, at the end of the year, we'll tally them up, see who gets the win, and maybe we'll do like a belt or something for the winner at the end of the calendar year. So who y'all got in this fight?
Yeah, give me Rosa Jr.
I'll go for Rosa because he's I want to see him win. Looks like Christian Rodriguez, he's 8-1. So I'm always gonna root for the dude that's new, 7-0, raw Roses.
Give me Rosa too. So we all got Rosa in this fight. Moving on to the next fight. We talked about this guy a little bit earlier. We have Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. This is an interesting fight.
Ponzinibbio's no joke.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, looking at just kind of their past, Ponzinibbio should have the edge here. So Santiago, his last fight, he beat Alex Moreno, which, Alex Moreno's a great fighter. Kevin Holland's coming off 2 losses to Kazmat, of course, and Stephen Thompson. So Kevin Holland's kind of in a must-win situation, but I think I'm taking Santiago on this one. Santiago, just to name some of his wins, so he just beat Alex Moreno. He's beat Neil Magny, Mike Perry, Gunnar Nilsson, Zach Cummings, Court McGee, Sean Strickland. I mean, this guy has fought some tough names and beat them, where Kevin Holland, he's fought big names, but he's lost. He's lost to like Derek Brunson. I did mention Stephen Thompson and Kazmat, and he lost to Vittori as well. So Santiago for me.
Who you got, Steve?
I'm gonna have to go with Ponzinibbio. His last fights, his dexterity, not dexterity, I'm sorry. His he's very durability is what I meant. Very durable. And Kevin Holland has shown he's been frail. I think he broke his fist. Something was wrong with his fist. Stephen Thompson, his last fight, I think. And
I think Holland broke his hand in that fight, I think.
And Kevin Holland, he always brings the fight. Don't get me wrong. I think this is going to be an entertaining fight. But as far as in the long run, he hasn't. He's been losing, and I don't know how long his body has to take, especially dealing with a dude who can put combinations together, get you to the fence, throw nice leg kicks. Kevin Holland got some. He's got a fight ahead of him.
I'm gonna go against the grain. Give me Kevin Holland. He's like a gamer. Like he goes in there to fight. I think he's gonna find a way to use that range. Like you said, Ponzinibbio is a tough fighter, but he's got his wear and tear on him. So I think I'm gonna go and take Kevin Holland in this fight. Moving on to the third fight on the main card, you have Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. Rob Font has like been a journeyman. Like he's one of those other fighters that can't quite get over the hump.
Yeah, I've been watching him fight for years. He's ranked number 6 right now. He's beat a lot of big names. Rob Font, he's beat Cody Garbrandt, Marlon Moraes, Sergio Pettis, Thomas Almeida. So he's got a good record.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, Adrian Yanez has a good record, 16-3. Not a lot of big names on his roster, but they've all been knockouts or TKOs. I mean, dude's on a run right now. He hasn't lost since 2018.
Yeah. Rob Font, he does have a resume, but Adrian Yanez, I've been looking at this dude, and this dude is a problem. Nasty hands, knows how to put them together. You get him in instinct mode or tunnel vision, and you get him a good fight, which I think this is could be a good stand-up fight. You might see takedown defense, but Adrian Yanez is a problem. I think people need to look into him and see this is going to be might be a knockout for him.
So, you have Yanez, and Steve, you have Yanez.
Yes.
I have Yanez as well. I think Rob Font, he'll be on a 3-fight losing streak, and the 3 usually the magic number, so might see him in a different organization after this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We move on to the co-main event. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal fighting in his hometown of Miami. Thoughts on this fight?
Steven, I'll let you go first on this one.
I'll tell you one thing. If there wasn't a fight stacked, the odds aren't stacked against them, it's this one. You have so many losses since the knockout loss. What is it, 2 or 3? 2 losses since that knockout.
Kobe beat him, and he lost to Usman twice.
Yeah. So in Miami, I think he can't lose, and maybe this is a planned retirement fight if he doesn't win. The layout's perfect, I think, but who knows?
Yeah. Masvidal, he's a brawler, street fighter. Gilbert Burns has a little bit of everything. He's good on the feet. He's amazing jiu-jitsu practitioner. So, I mean, MMA math doesn't always add up, but if you just look at kind of who's beat Masvidal, so Masvidal has lost to Usman twice, Colby Covington, Stephen Thompson, Damian Maia, Lorenz Larkin, Ben Henderson, Al Quinta. That's just the last few I see here. What they all have in common is those are all great wrestlers. And if you get Masvidal on the ground, he can't really do anything. He can't get up. It's Gilbert Burns all the way. The odds on this fight are Gilbert Burns is favored at a minus 490, and Masvidal is the underdog at plus 390. So even the odds makers know this is kind of a one-sided fight.
Plus, Gilbert Burns was easily took down a tall man his last fight, which was Neil Magny. So I think Gilbert Burns definitely has a wrestling advantage.
I think Gilbert Burns is going to wipe out Masvidal. Gilbert Burns, even though he just got in a knockout, drag-out war with Khamzat Chimaev, that was a hell of a fight, by the way.
Yeah.
So he might have a little bit of wear and tear from that, but I think this is light work for him. Like Amai said, Masvidal is not really too adept on the ground like that. Gilbert Burns, I think he has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but like even with his black belt in jiu-jitsu, he's got hands. Like he's one of those guys that like they're able to still find their hands with even being like a master at one technique or whatever. So wherever you take this fight, I think Gilbert Burns has the advantage. Like Masvidal, he may be able to. I don't even know if he'd be able to like one shot Gilbert Burns because, like I said, he just took Chimaev's best shot and didn't get knocked out. So I think Masvidal has a long night ahead of him on this night. So I think we all got Gilbert Burns winning this fight.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I'll even go a step further and say Masvidal retires.
Wow. There goes a little bit of WWE leaking into loser retires.
Yeah.
All right. On to the main event. Rematch taking place back from November on that UFC pay-per-view. We got Israel, the last stylebender, facing Alex Pereira, some guy he hasn't been able to figure out, a puzzle he hasn't been able to figure out so far. Fellas, how do y'all see this playing out? And it's the fourth time they're facing because they face each other in kickboxing twice, and one which Alex Pereira knocked Israel out. And Israel was up in the fifth round, and halfway through that, Alex was able to still retain that power and knock Israel out. So y'all think Israel learns from his mistakes, or think Pierre just has his number at this point?
It's going to be a long fight. I see it going into the fifth round again. Like you said, they've fought kickboxing. They've done, an MMA match, and Alex just seems to have his number. I don't know what he could do any different to beat Alex. I don't know. But you also have to look at kind of the track record too. Izzy's lost 2 fights, and one was for the light heavyweight championship against Jan. So I don't know. This is a toss-up. I'm going to pick the opposite of whoever you guys pick.
What do you think, Steve?
I will go for Israel only because Pereira did take him down, but as far as experience in the UFC, Israel's going to have to go for wrestling. And to say that he survived everybody until now, I think he has a good chance of taking Pereira down and using something other than his striking. So I'll have to say Israel.
And people might have forgotten that Israel, the first fight, he did a little bit of wrestling, which we've never seen before. So if his trainers and camp was smart, they'd go back to that well, because Alex is like a straight up kickboxer. And I know he's working with Glover Teixeira, and Glover Teixeira's got his jiu-jitsu credentials, but it's but much time in the day where you could learn all of that. Only having a few years of, I don't know how long he's been rolling around the mats, but I'm sure like he probably at the most has like probably like a brown belt at the most, Alex Pereira. But everybody knows he's a kickboxer. So I'm going to say Israel's able to figure out the puzzle and able to get the decision.
Oh, give me Alex then.
All right. So if Israel loses, though, like, I don't know, like, where does he go from there?
It's like the boogeyman keeps on following him.
John Jones ain't at light heavyweight anymore. I can see Izzy going up to light heavyweight for good.
Huh? But he barely made he worried at 200 or 201 when he like he's kind of slim for even the light heavyweight. Like, seemed like it took him a little bit to fill that out.
And then Pierre is just gonna go up to light heavyweight and take that. I mean, I think that's what's gonna happen if he does that.
Pierre's a big boy. Like they say, he walks around at like 230, and that he is planning on going up to light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Izzy might be stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, I just wanted to read off some of these fight odds, see if you might want to take some money on some of these fights. Admire. So you got Israel minus 135 to Pierre's 115. So he lost and he's still the favorite. Would you take some money on that?
What's the odds on it?
Israel is a minus 135 to Pierre's plus 115. That's close.
I would take Pierre on that just because the money's there a little bit. I mean, it's not a big difference, but I think the smart money would be on Pierre.
I say so as well. I mean, you put 100 on Pierre to get 115 back. So I feel like maybe it's so close. Like it really doesn't matter which way you go. You got Gilbert Burns is a minus 475. Like you said, that's ridiculous to Jorge Masvidal's plus 380. I might take some money on Masvidal.
Yeah, I mean, even if you put $10 on Masvidal, you're gonna make $40 on it. That's pretty good return on your money. Just a kind of a safekeeping bet.
You got Yanez minus 180 to Ralph Funt's 155, so that's just a toss up as well. Holland is a minus 245 versus Ponzinibbio plus 205. Would you take some money out? Y'all both said Ponzinibbio is going to win, so
yeah, I'm thinking I might have to go get on a betting site for this. I honestly, going down the card, I would do Pierre, Burns, and Yanez, and Ponzinibbio, and Rosa. All my picks, pretty much. I would go through that and do like a 5-fight parlay. I don't know what the odds would end up being, but I'm pretty confident that that's a winner.
Rosas is a minus 225. Rodriguez is plus 190. So, I mean, the kid is still young, so I might think about putting some money on Rodriguez on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to wrap it up here. Any shout-outs or any final words for you fellas before we get on out of here?
Just shout out to anybody who followed along on the Twitch, any new followers, old followers. Be sure to watch all the other podcasts that we're related to: Boot to the Face, 80 Proof, Talkomania, Chaos Theory, all those. And that's all I got.
Deep.
Good.
All right. Well, we'll be back here on Sunday to recap the post-mortem of UFC 287. So that's it for us on Haymaker MMA. Until next time, deuces.
See you later.